There's a memory I carry with me from my early years in practice. A man in his 70s came in for a routine checkup. Strong handshake, steady eyes, the kind of man you'd expect to be unshakable. But when I asked if there was anything else bothering him, he paused, then looked down. "It's not exactly medical," he said. "Just feels like the fire's gone out." He wasn't talking about pain. He was talking about something deeper. The quiet dimming of vitality. The sense that something inside something he once relied on had quietly faded. I'm Dr. Thomas Leighton. For over 40 years, I've listened to men like him, factory workers, fathers, veterans, teachers. And what I've learned is that the body doesn't give up on us nearly as quickly as we think. Often, it's still trying to speak, even after we've stopped listening. If this message speaks to you, type 1. If you're unsure, type 0. Either way, thank you for spending this time with me. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that some changes don't feel like aging at all? They feel like disconnecting. You're still here, still living, but the energy's lower, the response is slower, the intimacy quieter, or gone. You go to bed earlier, but don't rest the way you used to. You love your partner, but something in your body doesn't respond like it once did. And that silence, it can be heavier than any symptom. But it's not your fault. It's not about failure or weakness. Often, what's happening inside your body is something no one ever taught you how to recognize as subtle shifts in blood flow, tension in the nervous system, a soft withdrawal of circulation from the places it once lit up without effort. The truth is, your body is still capable, but it needs support. And most of all, it needs to be treated with kindness, not pressure. And here's the quiet good news. You don't always need pills. You don't need to force your way back into feeling like yourself again. Sometimes, all it takes is a small act, a habit that's easy to begin, something familiar. What I'd like to share with you today is something I often recommended to men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Not because it's trendy, but because it worked quietly, consistently. It's a morning drink. A simple mix you can make in your kitchen with ingredients you probably already have. It takes less than a minute, but over time, it can help support your blood flow, improve energy, and gradually restore a deeper sense of connection, both with your body and the people you love. But before we talk about what goes into it, let's talk about why it works. Because behind every strong erection, every clear thought, every calm breathes blood flow. When your blood flows freely, everything functions better. Your heart beats steadier, your brain feels sharper, your limbs move more easily. And yes, your intimacy returns, not through pressure, but through presence. The first ingredient in this drink? Beetroot. Now, beetroot may sound ordinary, earthy, nothing special, but within this deep red root is a natural compound that makes a quiet difference in nitrates. These natural nitrates, once inside your body, are converted into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, that's the key. It expands blood vessels, lowers pressure, and clears the path for blood to reach where it's needed most. That includes your brain, your heart, and yes, the parts of you that respond during closeness. As we age, our nitric oxide levels drop. That's not a theory, it's a well-established fact in cardiovascular and aging research. And as nitric oxide drops, so does blood flow. That's where beetroot comes in. According to studies published in Hypertension and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, drinking beetroot juice can lead to measurable improvements in blood vessel dilation, oxygen delivery, and blood pressure regulation. But for many of my patients, the effects were more personal than clinical. One man told me, "Doc, it didn't just help in the bedroom. I woke up with energy I hadn't felt in years." Another said, "I didn't expect to cry, but I did. I felt myself come back." You see, circulation isn't just a physical process, it's emotional too. When blood begins to flow again, when the warmth returns to your hands, your cheeks, your center, you don't just perform better, you feel more alive. And aliveness, that's what we're really talking about here. Not just function, not just response. Life, movement, warmth. Now beetroot lays the groundwork. But in the body, as in life, one piece isn't enough. Foundations need support. Energy needs a guide. Which brings us to the second ingredient, lemon. We'll get into the role lemon plays in just a moment. But first, I want you to take a breath. Really right now. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the rise and fall. If you've read this far, that means you're ready not for a quick fix, but for a reconnection. So here's what I'd like you to consider. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe your body's been waiting for you. Not to fight it, but to feed it. Not to demand from it, but to listen to it again. This drink I'm about to guide you through is not a cure, but it is a message. A way of saying, I haven't given up. And when you do that, when you send that message, even in the smallest of ways, your body listens. Just like that man I mentioned at the beginning, who came back 3 months after starting this practice. He looked different. Not younger, just lighter. Like someone who'd finally stopped apologizing for needing something again. If you're finding this helpful, or if you're simply starting to think differently about your health after 60, consider subscribing. I'll be right here, walking beside you. And now, let's talk about lemon. Lemon. Humble, familiar, a staple in every kitchen. Yet beneath its sour bite lies something far more powerful, the ability to amplify everything you're already doing right. In my years of practice, I never recommended a circulatory support plan without including lemon. Not because of flavor, but because of function. You see, lemon, especially freshly squeezed, plays a vital role in how your body processes the nutrients and compounds from other ingredients, like beetroot. It doesn't just tag along. It helps your body use what you give it. Let's go back to nitric oxide for a moment, that compound created when your body converts natural nitrates. It's responsible for opening blood vessels and encouraging flow. But this conversion doesn't happen on its own. It needs support. And vitamin C, found abundantly in lemon, helps make that conversion happen more efficiently. In other words, lemon doesn't replace beetroot, it unlocks it. And when blood vessels open, and blood starts reaching the tissues that have long gone quiet, that's when things begin to shift. One man, a retired Marine, told me something I've never forgotten. Doc, it's like I was walking around half lit. Now I feel switched on again. Lemon also plays another important role, reducing inflammation in the lining of your blood vessels. As we age, small amounts of inflammation build up from stress, diet, even air quality. That inflammation narrows the passageways through which blood flows. It makes the system sluggish, stiff. It's part of why we feel slower, heavier, less responsive even when we're trying to do everything right. But when inflammation softens, blood vessels become more elastic. Pressure begins to ease, and your entire system from your heart to your reproductive function responds in kind. Lemon also quietly supports your liver. And that's not just about detoxing, it's about hormonal balance. You see, your liver plays a crucial role in regulating the hormones that support desire, drive, and vitality. When the liver is overwhelmed, those hormones don't circulate as clearly. They get stuck, disrupted. The result? Low energy, lower libido, and that foggy feeling so many men describe but can't quite explain. But when you cleanse gently, not with harsh diets or fads, but with real supportive nutrients, that system starts working again. Hormones flow, the body responds, and slowly, confidence returns. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's real. So now you've got beetroot, the foundation, and lemon, the bridge. 2 ingredients, simple, natural. But already, the path to better blood flow and better connection is beginning to take shape. And that leads us to the 3rd ingredient, ginger. Now, ginger is one of those things that people either love or ignore. It sits in the corner of the kitchen, often forgotten. But what it does inside the body is anything but forgettable. Ginger, quite literally, stirs things up. It's what I like to call an activator. It stimulates the pituitary gland, the part of the brain responsible for sending out hormonal signals. And for men, that means it encourages the body to support testosterone production, not synthetically, but naturally. As men age, testosterone doesn't disappear, but its rhythm becomes disrupted. The signals get quieter, and sometimes they stop reaching their destination. Ginger helps bring that rhythm back, not in a way that overstimulates or forces, but in a way that reminds your body of its original song, steady, grounded, confident. There's research to support this too. A 2012 study published in Tikrit Medical Journal found that daily ginger supplementation improved testosterone levels in adult males not just in lab settings, but in the real rhythms of life. But ginger's effects don't stop there. It also soothes the sympathetic nervous system, the very system responsible for arousal, reflexes, and sensitivity. When this system is out of balance, a man may still feel desire mentally, but the body doesn't follow. The signals get scrambled. You're not broken. You're just misaligned. And ginger helps realign you. It calms that fight-or-flight wiring that so often stays stuck on high alert, especially for men who've spent a lifetime pushing, providing, surviving. You don't need more pressure. You need release. And ginger offers that a warm, grounding effect that helps you breathe deeper, feel steadier, and respond more easily. One man told me, "I didn't even notice it at first. I was just sleeping better. But then my wife said, 'You're smiling again.' That's not a coincidence. That's your system returning to baseline. A quiet baseline where strength isn't forced, it's felt." Another key benefit of ginger? Lowering cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol, in small doses, is useful. But when it builds up from years of worry, poor sleep, and unspoken stress, it begins to take things from you. It tightens your blood vessels, dulls your emotions, dampens your reflexes. And over time, it chips away at desire. Not just sexual, but emotional. The desire to engage, to initiate, to feel present. But ginger helps lower cortisol naturally, and in doing so, it begins to return what stress slowly eroded: your clarity, your calm, and yes, your confidence. Now we have 3 ingredients: beetroot, lemon, and ginger, each one working in harmony. One to open blood vessels, one to amplify and cleanse, one to stimulate, soothe, and restore. And still one more element remains. Something even more basic. So simple, many overlook it entirely. We'll talk about that next. But before we go on, I'd like to ask something. If this message has begun to shift something in how you see your body, even slightly, consider subscribing. Not out of obligation, but out of hope that you're ready to hear more of what your body has been trying to say for years. Because when you begin to listen, really listen, healing has a chance to begin. And sometimes, that healing begins with a single glass. There's one more ingredient I want to talk about. It's not exotic. It's not trendy. In fact, you've probably walked past it 100 times without thinking much of it. Coconut water. Now, some of you might wonder, what does hydration have to do with energy, erections, or even emotional wellness? But in my experience, both in clinics and quiet kitchen table conversations, dehydration is one of the most overlooked causes of fatigue, poor circulation, and even intimacy struggles in older men. Let me explain. When your body lacks water even slightly, your blood becomes thicker, it moves slower, your vessels narrow. And suddenly, everything you're doing right, the foods you're eating, the supplements you're taking, the exercises you've committed to, all of it struggles to reach the places where it matters most. It's like trying to drive a strong car on a muddy road. The engine works, but the road holds it back. Coconut water gently clears that path. It hydrates not just your mouth, but your cells. And unlike plain water, it carries electrolytes, potassium, magnesium, and sodium in a natural balance. These elements help your nervous system fire, your muscles contract, and your hormonal system stabilize. In other words, coconut water supports the delivery system. Without it, the beetroot can't fully circulate, the lemon can't fully cleanse, the ginger can't fully soothe. But with it, everything flows more freely. Some men don't even realize they've been living in a state of low-level dehydration, but they feel the effects: brain fog, low mood, poor sleep, a sense that the body is moving slower, heavier, more reluctantly. One man I knew started drinking coconut water each morning, just a small glass, before breakfast. 2 weeks later, he said something that stuck with me. It wasn't like a lightning bolt. It was more like, my body stopped saying no all the time. That's the kind of shift we're after. Not miracles, not magic. Just permission for your body to function again. To receive what you give it, to meet you halfway. So now we have 4 ingredients: beetroot, lemon, ginger, coconut water, a root, a fruit, a spice, and a liquid. Simple, familiar, but together, a quiet ritual, a gentle awakening. You can mix them however you like. Some men juice them, others blend. Some simply steep the ginger and lemon in warm water and add a splash of coconut water with a bit of beetroot powder or puree. There's no perfect recipe. What matters is the message behind it. I'm here. I'm listening. I still care for this body I live in. Because this drink isn't about fighting age. It's about accompanying it, walking alongside your years, not running from them. You see, the men I've worked with over the years who regained their vitality, they didn't do it by chasing youth. They did it by learning how to reconnect slowly, honestly. They stopped blaming their bodies and started listening to them. They traded frustration for curiosity, silence for kindness, performance for presence. And what they found quietly over time was that their strength had never really left them. It had just gone quiet, waiting. Maybe yours is waiting too. I want to be clear. This morning drink won't reverse every condition. It won't take the place of medication when it's truly needed. And it certainly isn't a substitute for open conversation with your doctor. But it can be the beginning. A beginning that costs very little but says a great deal. When a man prepares something for his own healing, with his own 2 hands, he reminds himself that he is still part of the process, still capable, still worthy, still here. I often told my patients this simple truth. We don't grow old because our bodies weaken. We grow old because we stop feeling connected to ourselves. And nothing restores that connection more than small, consistent acts of care. A quiet morning, a cup you made yourself, a choice to begin again. When you drink something that supports your circulation, your hormones, your nervous system, and your hydration all at once, you're not chasing a fix. You're building a foundation. One that doesn't just support your performance, but your peace. And peace, I've come to believe, is the highest form of strength a man can know. So if you're still here, and this message has touched something in you, maybe this is your time to try. Not because someone told you to, but because something in you knows you're not done yet. Try it for a week. Then notice. Notice your energy in the afternoon. Notice your breathing at night. Notice how your mind responds when your body feels heard. And if, after a while, you feel something begin to shift, something slow but real, perhaps, tell a friend. Not loudly, not for show, but in the quiet way men pass things along from hand to hand, or heart to heart, because you never know who else is waiting to hear. It's not too late. You're not alone. There's still more life in you yet. If this message touched you, perhaps share it quietly, as it was shared with you, with a brother, a friend, a son, or just keep it close like a warm ember in your hand. Because sometimes that's all a man needs to remember. He never lost his worth. He only needed to remember where to look.